Welcome to the Football Show in PLZ. Soccer sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. It's Tuesday. Alan Ruff and Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail are with me here to discuss all the footballing issues emerging today. Yeah, lots to talk about. Of course, the Scotland pain that lingers on all the way through to Tuesday. Alex McLeish saying that he has felt the pain himself, looking to try and get a sleeping tablet to get him through the agony of it all. Because, let's be honest about it, he's only human. He will feel the hurt just as much as everyone else, Hugh MacDonald.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, of all the criticisms that you might wish to lay at the door of Alex McLeish, the fact that he doesn't care isn't one of them. You know, he's a passionate manager, he's a passionate player, committed to them, so he'll be hurting because he knows the actual paucity of that result. You know, that was it's just Peter. I watched on Thursday. I mean, everybody's talked about it, and it's old news yet. But I was shocked by it. I'm at the age where you don't get shocked by Scotland that much, but I was shocked on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I know that at times, and I'm not going to go back over old ground with you on this because Ruffy and I have been batting it about as well, but. You know, there were people that angered me at listening to some pundits talking about, you know, how Strachan was getting it right towards the end. You know, we start looking back the way because we've now got a manager who's only shortly into the job. I don't look at friendlies and think you've got to read into them. These two games, they've been disappointing. The one against Israel, really disappointing. You know, some people could say we were rather fortuitous against Albania, but we won. And nothing's been decided yet. His fate, I think, will start to be determined if we can't top the group of Israel and Albania.
It's like a film, isn't it, Peter? 4 days in November, you know. That could be the title of it. 17th of November, 20th of November, 2 games. If he wins both those games, and he should win both those games, really should. I mean, with the players they've got, then everything is coming up roses again, and we top the group and go into a playoff.
But amazingly, we've got in the paper, Ruffy, he doesn't need to win both games. He could actually lose one of them to Albania, and as long as he defeats Israel by 2 clear goals, they could top the group.
Head-to-head.
Yeah, it looks as if the game at Hampden's going to be the deciding factor, although you'd want to go into that game with a positive result. But again, we always seem to have a game that could get us there, and with this one is not the calibre anything we've played. It's usually Italy or Spain or somebody like that we need to take points off of. This is Israel at home, you know, and you would expect us to win that one.
But Paul Lambert said something, you know, that came out early this morning, that we need to lower our expectations, you know, from the Scottish public, the Tartan Army, you know, because where we are now in the world game, well, where we are is 39th in the FIFA rankings, but I still believe that Alex McLeish needs to change the way we approach games against countries like this. I think we need to change our mindset, Hugh, to have a go at them.
I mean, see, this is my big bugbear. You know, people saying about, you know, it's a long-term problem, not qualifying for it. Yes, but we're not qualifying with groups that have had, you know, Italy in them, you know, most lately Germany in them, Poland, whatever you want to see. This is Israel and Albania.
Yeah.
There's no matter about lowering or heightening expectations in. These are teams we should beat. It's that simple. Look at the rankings. They tell you that. And I think, yes, I think there should be more aggression put into the game as well. And by aggression, I mean, I'm more looking forward. I think the interesting thing about the Portugal game is that he played at least lip service to having a back four. You know, because, and I think that's the way to go. How he fits that around Tierney, Robertson, and Fraser, I think is quite simple. He just bites the bullet and puts Tierney right back. But whatever you do, you must be going into these 2 games aggressively saying these are teams we should beat. Let's go and beat them.
Yeah, well, I can always remember, you know, after about 8 defeats in a an old firm match. I was a young reporter who said to Tommy Burns, is it not about time that you changed your tactic? Which was basically, you're constantly getting all the possession, but they're catching you with the sucker punch. You have to change it. And he came out with the line, what do you know about tactics? And in a way, there's 1,000,001 managers out there who will quite simply be listening to all of us, and we've all offered their tuppence worth on it. But I think the one thing I would like to see is, I don't think we've got bad players. I think these players, as they grow, need to have a more positive attitude to take the game. I mean, somebody said it's no wonder they're not responding because the media are all on their case. And I'm thinking, give me peace.
No, I've already went on record, Peter, saying that I think 75% of them are just novice international players. They are good players at club level, I'm not disputing that at all. But going into an international level, and not just performing, but winning as well, is a different aspect to their game as well. I don't mind us playing three at the back at home, because Israel are only going to play with one striker up. Don't play three at the back against Belgium. Don't play three at the back against Portugal, where they're far better than us. But let's play as many advanced players as we can. Let's have a system that we have three forwards. Let's have a system where we have people going forward in the game rather than defend. We're never going to be under any pressure against Israel at home.
No, that's my point. And the other thing about it as well is Gordon's team, they were starting to play some nice football, but I think the manager's got to relay that to them. Hugh, listen, look at where you've played. A lot of the players, some of them have played in Kieran Tierney's played Champions League football. Charlie Mulgrew's played Champions League football, albeit he's in a lower level now. But Stevie Naismith, there are players in the side, and Armstrong's got a big move to Southampton. Take the ball, be brave, move forward, let's have a go. James Forrest, your only remit should be, by the way, David Provan used to say his only remit from Billy McNeil was, see when you're on the right wing, you get the angle, shift it and get it in. They'll go and attack it. We don't do that.
I know. See, this collective thing, and I've fallen out with ex-players this week about it as well. Your expectations so high about our team, it's not as good as you think about, you're overrating. I said, no. That's fine if we play Belgium. And by the way, we sat in this programme and said we'll get pumped against Belgium because we knew that, absolutely. Yeah. But that's okay then if you say, we could get a result against Belgium. What? Come on, Israel. If you say to the Israel manager, took him in here and says, can I have a word with you, sit in the corner? I says, it's 11 asides today, tic-tac-toe. You get the first 11 picks in tic-tac-toe. Many Israelis is going to put in the team.
Yeah.
He's going to fill the team with Scots players. We have better players than Israel. It's a fact. We just didn't get beat. Yeah. We got thrashed on.
The biggest problem we have is we can't open up teams. We can't score. You look at all the goals we've scored. 2 free kicks against England. 2 corners against Albania. We're not scoring goals for open play. We're not getting down the wings and putting balls in and scoring goals with that. It's all set pieces.
But that goes back to Peter's point. Peter's saying, let's pick an aggressive team and see if you were picking the team. The first thing I'd be thinking, and I couldn't spell A licence. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a football coach, but the first thing is, I've watched a lot of football and I'm saying, I think against weaker teams, the bigger you make the part, the better. And one thing that any defender in the world, whether it's Baresi, never mind who plays centre half for Israel or right back, don't like pace. No defender likes pace.
Yep.
Fraser on the left, Forrest on the right, get the ball to him.
And it's not as if, Hugh, and again, we can all be your PlayStation manager, but it's not as if these players don't know how to track back. They're playing top flight football. They know how to track back. But when they've got the ball, go at them. We're not doing that. I mean, they're playing the ball back the way into midfield. They're going across. It's almost as if they've worked out a blueprint about how somebody else plays football and they're all trying to copy it. Whereas we should be what we used to be, which was going forward, be aggressive, try and get up the park. I'll never forget Gordon Strachan's line, at Wembley. You were there with me. What can you do if you've got 2 central defenders who can't defend? You're goosed.
No.
We always give away goals.
No.
And now Alex McLeish has got the same problem as Gordon Strachan has and had. It hasn't changed.
The only thing that's changed, though, is he's got poorer opposition.
Yes. But the strange thing is, I mean, he's got some good young players coming through. As Ruffy said, they're maybe not at the international level. but I agree with you. That's fine if you're playing Belgium or you're playing the Netherlands.
Aye.
We're playing Israel and Albania. We should be going there and saying we can win by 2 or 3 goals here. You know, but it's and on the back of that, may I say, in international football, England, you know, 3-2, first win I think in over 30 years in Spain. You know, their young players performed. They were 3-0 up at half time. I mean, and by the way, if you're talking about knee-jerk reaction, you know, after 24 hours, you think it was world domination after beating Spain. Spain, by the way, who are not the Spain of 10 years ago.
No, and if you look at the England goals, a lot of them weren't like tremendous ball play. One was a hoof up the park, the other one was a breakaway. You know, but I have to say they have got good players. They have got very, very good players.
They've got pace as well.
Playing in better teams than what our guys are playing in. And, you know, that's why we were all celebrating when we got a 2-each draw with them. But again, it was 2 free kicks, 2 wonderful free kicks that they got us in that game.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Albania and Israel. I do think we still are good enough to beat them.
Yeah, the other problem I really do have, and this is a recurring theme with Scotland, this is the last point on it before we move on to your new manager, Ruffy, is quite simply that Gordon Strachan said Lee Griffiths doesn't do walking away. He's a nice lad, great training, wasn't a moment's problem for him as manager. Well, he's a problem for Scotland because, quite simply, we now have to hope that he avoids his usual calf injury and that he is available next month. And even then, Hugh, even then, I'm looking and I'm saying, what is the boy's international pedigree? It's not of old, but he's almost like the White Knight that somehow is going to shoot down Israel and Albania, because I can't see anything else.
Yeah, I think there's legitimate question marks over his fitness and form. Absolutely, you know, and I think it's not, you know, bringing a Harry Kane into the side. You know, I think. See, if I had one slight criticism of Alec and would maybe bringing more youngsters into the squad on the periphery of the squad, even players dropped out, even to get them some training and start to build up, because we'll have to be building up alternatives to what we have. In the short term, Griffiths and Naismith against Israel and Albania should be enough.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'm looking at the midfield. Armstrong will get his goals. You know, obviously he's not getting a lot of game time at his club. But Armstrong, McGinn, McTominay, these guys should be good enough to beat Israel.
And I think Fraser's a big one, but you've got to play Fraser. Fraser in his right position could be the game changer.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but, you know, good player he is at a certain level. I don't think McDonald is going to drive us from the middle of the park, Hugh.
Strange one, isn't it?
It is really strange. And over and above that, I don't think we've got someone in the middle of the park who said, by the way, I'm not playing well, but you better start playing well. I don't think we've got one of those.
I agree with you. I think I noticed that he's thinking about bringing back Fletcher into the squad, etc., etc. I would like to see the Kearney, Tom Kearney of Fulham situation resolved. I really rate him, Peter. I've watched him a couple of times live last season, and I thought he's for what we have is top notch. But the more it goes on, and the more England come calling, the more doubts grow.
Yeah, I just wonder, sometimes we're not privy to the politics that go on in the back, but the one thing that's absolutely certain is we have to hope that the manager picks Griffiths and says to him, listen, you'll start and Naismith will play off you, because there's got to be a place for Naismith for me, because he's an example to what players should be doing, working their socks off.
He's a good team player as well, good link-up man, and has the capacity to give you a goal as well.
Yep, okay. It's only Tuesday. I'm sure it'll stretch into Thursday or Friday by the time we finish talking about Scotland. And of course, some people don't like international weeks. They just crave for domestic football. It'll be back at the weekend. Of course, managers in and out, never too far away from our thoughts. Partick's new manager, Gary Caldwell, he's in. He's mentioned the fact that he wanted to make them tight at the back, but also he wants them to attack and play entertaining football as well. He had a number of job offers. What can you tell us 24 hours on, Ruffy, about Gary Caldwell and what he's got planned?
And everything that he's done, he's been very positive, he's been very thorough in everything he's done. I already told you that he had done a full dossier on all the players that were at the club, and a serious dossier. You know, obviously I think some of the players might not want to see it, but he knows the ones that he wants and the ones that really have to buck up their ideas. He got to see all the players today. He wants to see the players up front. He had a massive game today, and the players were put on show to, obviously, it was team selection against Alloa at the weekend.
Yeah, he did come out with what I call the classic manager line to get all the players on side, which is, well, I've had a look at the squad, it's really, really good, so they're all going to be given the chance. He's got to keep them on side till January until he gets his faces in.
And then he can change his mind in January, you better believe it. Thistle need to, the word and the music that's come out of Thistle is, quite rightly, that the promotion is not beyond. It's so early in the season. There's got 10 points off lead and not that many points off playoff positions. But you need to hit the ground running. And Alloa, the team down at the nether regions of that division, I think Alloa have had 4 draws this year, not won a game in the league. So they'll be looking at that as a kick-start. I think it's an interesting appointment because it's a good high-profile appointment for Thistle, actually. They've got somebody there that the media will be interested in, somebody there that can walk into a dressing room and when it comes to a show me your medals competition, he wins that hands down. We all know that matters nothing after 6, 8 games, but it's enough to get you in the door. Yeah,
I like him as a person. I think he's, I think he's a confident boy. He knows what he wants, and he said that today that he felt as if his ambitions were matched by the club as well. He knows all about the academy and everything as well, Ruffy. But as you said, it's all about wins. The remit is fairly straightforward. I mean, he's got till 2020, but. Is get us into the Premiership? Is it playoffs or is it win it this season?
No, it has to be win it. You have to go for winning it. Anything else that happens after that, you take it when it comes. But for me, I think he had a wee bit of hunger about him that obviously people think he failed at Wigan and he failed at Chesterfield, and he's got the reasons why that didn't work there. It's a sort of the same remit as us, he's went to clubs that he had to get up. He did it with Wigan, and we think he can do it with us.
OK, fingers crossed. We wish him the very best of luck. Before we talk about Neil McCann, who's looking for potentially a bit of assistance from an old head, I just got to get your thoughts, Hugh. It's the first time I've had a chance to actually talk to you about it. I've been working around all sorts of media outlets offering opinion on it, listening to opinion on Paul Gascoigne. He came out tongue-in-cheek yesterday, delivered a little video of his goal against Scotland from Euro 96 and said he's not too bothered about it as long as he's in the Rangers Hall of Fame. What's your thoughts on it? And I'm not... I don't think you need to justify, because I'm on the committee with you from time to time. It's the first time I've actually missed the selection process on it. What's your thoughts on the way it was handled? Because I think that's the real core of this.
I think the core of it's got lost in the Scottish football, and the core of it's got lost. Certain things that you can agree with, disagree. It was a fairly straightforward and I think comprehensible process, but it had to be explained, and I think people have jumped in different things. The reason, shall we say, the reason he went in is because the only sort of criterion for getting in is footballing ability. It actually says that on it. You get in because of football ability. People can argue about all they want, but that's the criteria, so that's what he said. The reason he was withdrawing is because, as the statement says, subsequent to him going in, there's a police investigation that's going on, and that has to run its course.
Nailed it.
For me, that's it. But of course, that'll not. The thing's going crazy. It's got traction on both sides.
I think it's grown arms and legs. I mean, it's the Scottish Football Hall of Fame that decides on them, and I know that we rigorously, will discuss things and the implications of putting certain people in, the pros and cons of whether a Scottish person is more worthy. But nevertheless, that part of it, I think, has been lost in the whole process. Neil McCann might look to Jim Jeffries for a little bit of help. Now, with all due respect, I think that's a sensible thing. I think he should have done that at the start of the season.
I was just thinking Neil McCann and Jim Jeffries, maybe auditioning for the Sunshine Boys. The two of them, happy lad. No, I think that's a good. I think it shows a bit of strength in Neil as well, and he's. If they always say never employ somebody that can take your job, but if you've got the strength of character to come in and say, things maybe need another wee bit of thinking. I don't think in that division Dundee are that far off. I mean, everybody knows you can be unlucky, but they were really desperate and lucky against Kilmarnock. I mean,
but I think we've gone through a phase in the last 2 or 3 years, maybe the last 5 or 6 years, due to financial constraints, Ruffy, where a lot of experienced men have been discarded. Jim Duffy bucked the trend and said to everybody, "Hey, don't forget about us Oldians. We know what we're talking about." And I think Jim Jeffries, for me, his CV is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if Neil McCann thinks he's the man that can take some of the pressure off him, we know that a manager's job now is having to deal with everything, you know, and if he thinks that Jim Jeffries could maybe take a couple of things, I don't imagine Jim being in the training ground or anything like that, but I do think about the club, I think there are things, you know, for contracts, all that kind of thing.
A sounding board as well. Because I interviewed Neil about a year ago, or maybe a wee bit more shortly before he took the Dundee job, and he was glowing in his praise of Jim Jeffries as a man and and of football knowledge, so I'll give him that to bounce off.
Yeah, absolutely. The quarter-final for the Iron Brew Challenge Cup has been made, and as ever, it's still a competition that I think a lot of people want to win. Bohemians against East Fife, Edinburgh City, Alloa, Motherwell Colts against Ross County, Queen's Park against Kona's Quay Nomads. Sounds like one of those teams you pick and make up yourself on the PlayStation. Yeah, absolutely, a fantasy league. But the Colts have done well at Motherwell. They've got there. I mean, I think they're the first Colts side to get to a quarterfinals.
And Motherwell, Motherwell are making a point with that Colts side as well. You know, under the Project Brave era, one of the great criticisms would have been it wouldn't have promoted Motherwell's youth academy. So yeah, interesting competition. I don't know if it works except for those that are in it though. That's the big difficulty of it. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but nevertheless, it's always good for a manager when he wins it because he puts it on the CV and highlights it to people. Last point, it would be remiss of me not to mention the Glasgow City girls are on their way. They'll be in Spain now, getting ready for that Champions League tie against Barcelona. Okay, I've lowered my expectations from the start of the show to this point. I expect they could be in for a difficult 90 minutes. Yeah,
they'll have to go over the result of the weekend. That was a disappointment for them. I think they've got Hibs again next week after this game. So 3 massive big games coming up. But I think Leanne's already told us about the play at these teams abroad. You know, they're very, very professional, and so it's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, it's funny actually, but in the women's game, which is getting stronger and people are looking to invest more in it, and long may that continue, but you've got a situation this week which is the ultimate that many a men's side has faced, and now they're out of the Scottish Cup. Suddenly Glasgow City are not as formidable as they once were because the other girls are closing the gap. Yeah. Barcelona, and then they could lose the league to Hibs at the weekend.
I know. I mean, but it just shows you that what's happened is competition's increased significantly in Scotland, and the level has absolutely gone up. Whether that'll be followed by people trying to monetise it, make it even more professional, we'll wait and see. Good step with the Scottish Government over certainly giving some money for allowing players to train ahead of the World Cup. So that's a positive sign. Just need people through the gate now.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have a wee chat with Leanne on tomorrow's programme. Good luck to Glasgow City. Hopefully you've enjoyed the chat. If you have, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks to Ruffy, and good luck to his new manager at Partick Thistle, Gary Caldwell. From Hugh McDonald, Ruffy and myself, thanks for watching.